Music should strike fire from the heart of man and bring tears to the eyes of women. A quote by Beethoven that could very well have been won by Franz Liszt, the 19th century superstar that was such a strong promoter for his idol Beethoven. Last week I introduced some of the participants to you of the upcoming Liszt competition that is dedicated to the relationship between these two musical giants. And we also talked about their alleged meeting in 1823. Today we'll discover how much effort Liszt put into keeping Beethoven's memory alive. Episode 11 of Beethoven 250 and 52 Posts, the creation of the monument in Bonn. The Bonnument. If you travel to Beethoven's birthplace Bonn in Germany, you'll inevitably walk into the monument that stands on the Münsterplatz. An iconic statue that wouldn't have been there if Liszt wouldn't have come to the rescue in the 1840s. Already in 1828 though, 1 year after Beethoven's death, musicologist Karl Heinrich Breidenstein expresses the idea of creating a monument. And a few years later, the Bonn Association for the Beethoven Monument is founded, with the goal getting it funded. Well, King Ludwig I was enthusiastic, and several musicians in Europe start organizing fundraising concerts. But those were not very successful. Until Liszt hears about it in 1839. He's the most famous musician in Europe, and he knows how to organize fundraising events. He donates all the revenue to the construction fund, and topped with his own money, in the end he contributes to about a fifth of the whole budget. But that's not all Liszt does. In 1845 the monument is finally revealed, 75 years after Beethoven's birth, but you can't celebrate a composer's birth without music, can you? So Liszt organizes a 3-day festival and 3,000 people are expected. But there's no venue for them. So Liszt urges the organization to build a new one, the Beethoven Hall. And only after his promise to cover the full costs, it gets done. In China they were able to build a corona hospital in 14 days. In Bonn they were able to build the Beethoven Hall in only 11, in 1845. The festival was visited by many royals and celebrities from all around Europe, and without Liszt it wouldn't have happened. But that raised some eyebrows as well, because Liszt was not only the major sponsor of the event, he also became an honorary member of the committee. He was soloist in the 5th Piano Concerto by Beethoven, conducted the 5th Symphony and was commissioned to write a new cantata for the festivities. Critics spoke of a Beethoven festival in honor of Franz Liszt. And to make things worse, at the private dinner party after the festivities, dancer Lola Montes enters the room, an old affair of Liszt's. She wasn't invited, but she claimed to be a guest of Liszt's, and at the dinner party started dancing on the tables. Well, the present King Ludwig might have liked it more than people thought, because his affair with her cost him his throne in 1848. So what? But despite all his efforts and money, on the long term it probably wasn't the success Liszt had hoped for himself. Because his dominant presence, the affair with Lola Mendes, wasn't forgotten by many people, and 25 years later, during the celebrations of Beethoven's 100th birth, Liszt wasn't even invited. But for us, it is a long-lasting success, because thanks to Liszt, the very next edition of the Beethoven Fest Bonn has started this week. The other big event that's happening this week is the International Franz Liszt Piano Competition in Utrecht, the Beethoven edition. I'll be hosting the finals on March 25 and March 28, which will be broadcasted live on Facebook and YouTube, and I'll share the live stream on my Facebook page so we can find out who will be the next pianists to go home with this beautiful Liszt statue. Speaking of Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, do not forget to follow me on my social media accounts to miss no episode of this Beethoven series, Beethoven 250 in 52 posts. Have a nice week and see you next Sunday, 10 o'clock.